Hello, it's 9 p.m. in Art. This time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have the launch of summer sports activity in Dekhel. For the international scene, Brazilian presidential Bolsonaro Lula's jail is launched. Welcome to our newsroom. Under the aegis of the Secretary of State in charge of sports, the Regional Subdirectorate of Dekhel closed yesterday the Summer Games in the region of Unity, launched about a month ago. These games have been a real discovery, a return to the sources for our young Djiboutian vacationer. For the closings in front of the prefectures, the organizers presented a variety of traditional games, including the Burda, Afar Koso, traditional wrestling, and in parallel soccer. The competitions took place in perfect harmony to the great satisfaction of the organizers and partners. The event took place in the presence of the president of the directorate of the region, Mr. Yusuf Abdallah, the head of the Department of Women's Sport, Ms. Dekha Ali, the coordinator of sport, Mr. Ahmed Ali, the deputy director of sports of Dekhel Jama Hersi, the senior executive of the direction of sports, as well as several other personalities from the world of sports and the regions. Through this activity, the Secretary of State for Sports intends to preserve and promote this wealth. The Secretary of Sports at the association is organizing an event integrating the practices of traditional sports game. For his part, the Vice President of the Regional Council of Dekhel Ibrahim Guru said that we thank all the people who came from the capital to implement these initiatives and these games that have been set aside, the traditional Afar and Somali games that have been revitalized. The youth are here to play Koso, Haila, the Burda, and I thanked all the Ministry of Sport. On his side, the Deputy Prefect of Dekhel, Mr. Idris Abbas, thanked the Secretary of State for Sports because it has revived traditions that were put aside and rarely practiced. This will strengthen the unity and cohesion of young peoples and enhance the cultures of peace. I thank him for these beautiful initiatives and I invite them to continue on this path. And the representative of the State Secretary of Sports said that Mr. Jama Hersi said that today the Secretary of State for Sports has organized the traditional games in the region of Dekhel in the presence of the Prefect, Mr. Idris Abbas, and the Vice President. This game consists of grouping different activities that are related to tradition. These activities are forgotten for a long time. This is a way to raise awareness for these initiatives and thank the ministers. A long time ago, a wise man from Tejora predicted that the size of Tejora would be evaluated that day when the constructions of houses would reach the east of Sheikh Mohammed and the west of the rock of Gohurta near the power station. Today, the constructions of houses can be seen beyond these two limits. A real estate boom is visible through the white city with even high-rise constructions. The first constructions that have completely changed the face of the city are the sound villa of the city Gadile Palm Beach, built on the eastern edge of Tejora near Sheikh Mohammed. Soon hotel structures, other villa constructions, and a marina are under construction and in project in the city. The Gadile Palm Beach, soon hotel structures, other villa constructions, and a marina are under construction and in the planning stage at Gadile Palm Beach. real estate projects have seen the light of day, and Les Sado at the exit towards Obor, and new ones has seen the light of day a little further towards in Ripta. In the White City, we have seen a frenzy of constructions in recent years, with the majority of developers being young people from Tajura who want to have a home and start a family. We notice a particularity in the constructions in Tajura. More and more houses are built in height. It is important to remember that the prices of fish has increased by 30%, 10% compared to the last 2 years, in cause the cost of the sea trips is much higher than before for the fisherman, a new increase that does not please a customer and fishermen. It is a new product that see its prices increases the fish. On the market sale in the marina located in the fishing port, fish are much more expensive than before, slow down the activities of fishermen, but also consumers faced with this evidence. Consumers not in they increase automatically reduce their consumption. So yes, we do not conduct our small business as before, says Muhammad Bahlul. It is summers and fishermen may have expected it, but it does not make it easier for us sellers. We interview with the fishermen who did not fail to emphasize the prices of diesel here with Fatum Muhammad Salim, who tell us about the difficult daily life of all fishermen, and especially she recalled that this has a negative impact on their lives if fishermen are forced to increase their rates. It is because of the price of diesel, because the trips at sea are now more expensive because of the very high prices of hydrocarbon. We pay more, we sell more, says one fisherman. If consumers buy less, they also order much less for restaurants specializing in fish. The problem is the same, and professionals must adapt. Remember that in the fishing port of Djibouti, several reasons are advanced by fishermen and still rising waters in this period of high rainfall in the coast of Tajura. The high price of diesel as well as the ice plays a role. On the African continent, 5 countries concentrated most of the camel product population in Africa: Somalia, Ethiopia, Kenya, Sudan, and Djibouti. It is in 1980s this represented 16% of the world's livestock. With the climate change and more frequent intense period of drought, many countries are changing their livestock practices. Here in the capital of Djibouti, a few dozen kilometers from the commercial city, is Dorale, once a coastal area, now conquered by the gateway infrastructure. Dorale has now for its inhabitants, who are mostly breeders, but especially for the marketing of camel's milk with the Djiboutian love. Is easy to digest, richer in vitamin, very popular in the Middle East and Asia, appreciated for its nutritional quality. It is less fatty than cow's milk, and detailed analysis of its composition show as a higher content of polyunsaturated fatty acids. It is therefore more digestible and traditionally appreciated for its anti-infectious and anti-cancer, anti-diabetic property, and more generally as a restorative for convalescent patients. In addition, milking the camel is a delicate art, a culture and ancestral traditions, and must be done after the afternoon prayers. This white gold allows many peasant family around the walls to feed themselves and even to get rich. Jamal still lives in Dorale with his family and sells the milk of his few camels. It is almost 4 p.m. The camels are already already ready and waiting impatiently. Jamal still needs a hand with the two manual milking can begin. He forms as milking. The 3 liters drawn from his camel will be filtered, bottled, and transported to sales outlet that in the city. It is the women who generally manage the handling of the camel's milk, placed on the opening of the cans to proceed to first filtrations of the milk. We can observe chewing leaves even if our camels feed on wet and city breed, but milk is still, since the summer period, milk is abundant, especially in September, October, December, and January. He also said that camel milk remains an excellent food to integrate into our diet in the prevention of diabetes as a complement and support of adequate drug treatment, and for diabetic patients herder can survive for up to a month on this beverage alone when they travel long distances. Caramel milk is full of nutritional benefit and remarkably interesting therapeutic. Will not be surprising tomorrow to see it elsewhere than in the countries where camels usually live. In Djibouti, the climate is hot and arid, with the high temperature. Rainfall is very characteristic depending the time of year. The Karma season have watered the whole sub-regions of Damerjog with the heavy precipitation with the runoff from the Wadi of Damerjog. These rains have also affected the sub-localities. These rains are a godsend for the families who will be relieved. Until now, this population were facing a recurrent drought. These rains have watered the entire national territories and should promote the growth of grasses and plants, likely to improve the feeding of livestock sources and food to our fellow citizens in rural areas, and should reduce the temperatures and the high heat in this month of August. Djibouti is still living at the rhythms of the Karma or Caravan rainy seasons, which has affected all regions as well as the capital. For the morning, the skies remains overcast on the whole, but according to the predictions of the rain were expected, especially in the region of Tajorat, Dekhil, the coast of Obok, and Ali Sabihville, and it is surrounding for tomorrow. So the weather forecasters are still predicting cloudy weather with the possibility of intermittent showers in the early mornings and late evening over the southern regions and the coast. The Meteo is issuing on alert the risks of wadi flooding in cases of heavy rainfall. Therefore, road users should be careful. The whole week has been rainy, and measures should be taken for sea trips if the wind blow strongly. Light rainfall less than 20 millimeters is expected over the rest of the countries. The previous week had a rainy episode in the southern regions with a total of more than 120 millimeters. And now a page of obituary. We have just learned with great sadness the death of the great singer Abtidon Isa Hassan. Following a long illness in Turkey, the announcement of his death has caused a wave of emotions on social networks. His fan and relatives pay tribute to him. Known for all, he was appreciated for his humility, his sincere patriotism, and his passion for music, whether it's traditional or urban. All the people who met him in the backstage and in the everyday life will remember a young man of great kindness, having contributed to the enrichment of the repertoire of the national music with these songs as singular as magnificent. We pay tribute to the multiple talent of the artists whose name will remain forever engraved in the repertoire of the Djiboutian song. May God grant him, his families and his relatives patience and comfort, but also to apply rewards that decided for the commendable services rendered to us and to his countries, to surrounding him, and for his holy mercy to welcome him in his in the vast paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. For the international scene, North Korea fires two cruise missiles, ending a month-long lull. North Korea fired two cruise missiles Wednesday, August 17, according to the South Korea's defense ministry, ending a month-long lull in Pyongyang records a breaking series of weapon tests this year. North Korea has not tested a cruise missile since January. The Yonhap news agency said that this type of missile is not prohibited at UN sanctions. Washington also believes that Kim Jong-un's regime could soon conduct a seventh nuclear test. Earlier this week, South Koreans and U.S. military troops launched the preliminary exercises before the start of their annual combined Yuchi Freedom Shield drill. Ukraine, UN Secretary General to meet Turkish and Ukrainian President in Kyiv. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres announced on Tuesday that he will meet with the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in the Ukrainian city of Kyiv on August 18. Antonio Guterres will visit the Joint Coordination Centers in Istanbul on August 20, which was established as a part of the landmark agreement to oversee the evacuations of grain from Ukraine on July 2020. Turkey, the United Nations, Russia, and Ukraine signed an agreement in Istanbul to reopen three Ukrainian Black Sea ports. Export of Ukrainian grain blocked due to the war between Russia and Ukraine. Now it is 6 months. Brazilian presidential, the dual Bolsonaro-Lula is launched. Lula launched this Tuesday his official campaign for the presidential of October in Brazil by choosing as his rival the outgoing President Jair Bolsonaro, a place which deeply marked his political career. The factories where he embraced the unionism favorite of the polls. Luiz Ignacio Lula da Silva, 76-year-old, held his first meeting in a car factory in his fief of São Bernardo do Campo near São Paulo, southeast, an industrial area where he was a late milk operator before becoming a trade union's leader in the 70s. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.